It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman, and this show is brought to you by CartKing.com. That's cart-king.com. 877-986-7771. You give them a call, tell them Ed Opperman sent you, get a good deal. Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Perhaps your current business wants to add multiple point-of-sale locations across the country. Maybe the facility you manage could kickstart revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Well, CartKing.com can be the answer to your needs. CartKing.com is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile retail coffee, food, carts, and kiosks that money can buy. For 20 years, CartKing.com has been working with clients and corporations across America to provide indoor and outdoor carts and kiosks for any application. So what you do is, if you want to make some extra money, you want to go into business, you don't have a big budget, you go to CartKing.com, you check out the website, check out all the different styles of these carts and kiosks you can buy from them. They'll custom design it for you. They'll custom build it. They'll ship it worldwide. You contact a mall or a hospital or even a hotel lobby. Tell them, hey, I want to come in your lobby and sell some coffee or flowers or baseball caps, whatever you got there, and you're in business. CartKing.com, 877-986-7771. Okay, we have today a young man named Jamie Dlux, who's got a YouTube channel. It's called Uploads from Jamie Dlux. He covers a lot of the same topics we cover here, too. He's been on with William Ramsey in the past. All this kind of Hollywood pedogate and this kind of stuff. Jamie Dlux, and he's the author of not the author of a book, but he's in a book, which is sometimes better than writing a book. By the way, too, when they write about you, you know what I mean? It kind of feels a little bit better. When they write about you, well, you've done something, but you write a book. Anybody can write a book. Jamie, Poetry's Not Dead, a collection of poems by Southern punks. You're a poet, too?
Evidently, yeah. Something else I fell into.
Tell us about yourself. Who is Jamie Dlux? Don't let me describe it. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm a musician. I used to try to, make it playing music. I've toured most of the country with some famous 80s bands. Not really famous, but like Bang Tango, they were pretty big in the 80s. Played with Wasp, LA Guns, stuff like that, just as an opening act. So I never really got anywhere. And then I, years later, stumbled into the pedogate stuff and couldn't stop.
So how would you describe your YouTube channel?
Well, it's kind of evolved, but basically I was inspired by other YouTubers that were pretty much investigating all that stuff and WikiLeaks and everything, and I was kind of thinking, well, I can do this, and I just never had the courage to do it. And then I was like, well, just do it. It's the only way you can do it. So I just started doing it, and I got better. So people, they tend to like the content. It's dark. It's really, I try to bring it out in a lighter way, and I hate using it, but I feel like we should go, just make it a little easy. And I didn't realize being so much and putting it out the back in a creative way. But it seems to be working.
Yeah, when you're on William's show, I can tell it's very popular. You have a huge fan base there. What do we get? Okay, I was Googling you here, and you had something about the Britney Spears family. Okay. What I did it on Nickelodeon. I did a 5-part series on Dan Schneider. Okay. And I used a bunch of the blind items in that. So that's what it was. And like the rumor is, like I said, I don't know the truth in any of this. I can just connect with dots I can and put out what information I can. The rumor is that her baby when she was 16 was Dan Schneider's baby. Oh, really?
Yeah. Jamie Lynn Spears' baby, not Britney.
Okay.
Yeah, Jamie Lynn Spears. I haven't really gotten to Britney that much, honestly, because I guess there's only so much you can do, because there's so much of this out there. But I can't stop. I know that.
Yeah, she's always seemed like an interesting character, especially when she was being handled by that guy, Sam Lufty. Did you come across his name?
No, I didn't come across his name yet.
Oh, very interesting, yeah, because he was her manager during the time when she was having that big crazy breakdown with the shaving the head
Shaving
stuff.
the head, yep.
Yeah, And then later on, he's just popped up again because we were just telling you off the air. I was just talking to Hank Harrison, Courtney Love's father.
Yeah,
he's just turned up again with Courtney Love.
That's weird.
Yeah, and
I don't know. Like, I know that on Andy Lawyer's Patreon page, he does a podcast, and it's $5 a month, and you subscribe to it or whatever, and he does a lot of reveals on there now. It's fairly new, but I know he just did a big one on Britney Spears. I haven't had a chance to listen yet, though, but I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, now that's interesting. Now, there used to be a website, well, there still is a website called Crazy Days and Crazy Nights, and it's supposedly by an entertainment lawyer, and I always had a suspicion of who I thought it was, okay?
Yeah?
Yeah, because I'm in, I'm in, well, I would know this stuff, you know? Now, the thing is, but when I hear his voice, I don't recognize this guy whatsoever. Has he come forward and revealed who he is?
He has not.
Okay, but now he has a paid podcast where you can hear his voice. It's not distorted in any way. Like, wouldn't people, if he was really like an insider entertainment lawyer, wouldn't people know who he is?
Probably. Honestly, I don't think he's a lawyer.
Okay.
I think that's just like personally, I don't think he is. I think he's a guy that was in their entertainment business somewhere in the background, and basically has a lot of trust and a lot of people that give him information and he reports it or whatever. Maybe he is a lawyer. I don't know.
Does he claim to be a lawyer?
He's never, that I've heard, he's never said it out loud. But, I mean, he does, like, in his description on Twitter or description of that, you know. But I think it's just, like, an alias, honestly. And, like it's like, how do you know who to trust and stuff like that, right? Including this, Crazy Days and Nights. But I just seem to see a pattern that a lot of the stuff they put out does come true later on.
Well, give us an example.
Well, he apparently he outed Weinstein.
Right.
Way beforehand. Matt Lauer beforehand. Kevin Spacey beforehand. Nixium. I did one on Nixium, and he outed that. He was talking about them in 2012 and about underage sex and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, but everyone knew about Weinstein. Everybody knew about the what's his name, Spacey. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe not everybody. I didn't know anything about him, but I didn't know who Weinstein was. I was on the East Coast too, you know.
You're on the East Coast in Virginia, something like that?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, I had never heard of him before. I didn't know any of this stuff.
Okay.
But it might be well known more over there on the West Coast, or just people that know more about, you know. Like, I didn't even know who Weinstein was.
Oh,
honestly.
The Weinstein stuff was notorious, about the stuff that people still aren't talking about Weinstein that people know.
I'm sure.
You know? Yeah.
Just scratch the surface, you know?
Yeah. There's it's coming out a little bit when they talk about how he's using these Israeli Mossad agents and stuff like that. You know, it's sort of coming out a little bit, you know, but still there's a ton of stuff about him that's not coming out at all. What can you tell us about Nexium? I haven't done much about that. I haven't even done much research on it. What can you tell us about this Nexium cult?
All I know about it is, well, he was branding girls down there,
right.
You know, with his Allison Mack's initials. Definitely some people in the entertainment business, like Allison Mack, and I think there was like another girl that was in it that left, but she was on that show with Allison Mack too, whatever that show was. I forget what it's called. Superman show. What is it?
I don't know. I don't watch that much TV like that kind of stuff, you know?
Me neither. So it's like, I'm putting this info out that I know nothing about, but I see where it connects and where, like, there's facts behind stuff when I can find it. If you want me to give you a good example, the last video I just did. The last video I just did was a combination of two blind items, and they talked about a prominent B actor that was a mostly TV actor dying of AIDS in the early 90s. And he died of AIDS from a manager in the entertainment industry that passed him around. He was a children's manager in the 70s in another state.
Okay.
Pretty much. So, I mean, it sounds so confusing. And it is. They do get confusing. I guess my brain works well with the word riddles as opposed to like math or something like that. So what it is I dug for a while, and I was looking at actors that were mostly in TV that died in the early 90s of AIDS. because supposedly the manager gave him AIDS, is what they were saying in the blind item.
Okay.
So, all right, so I dug and dug and dug, and then one stood out. Well, no, I mean a bunch. You know, there's actors that died of AIDS that were like nobody knew their names or anything in the '90s. But as I'm digging, I'm looking through everyone's IMDb and seeing what connects, and I saw a name under this guy's thing in a movie. The casting director was Michael Hara, and that I knew that name. I'm like, where do I know that name? And then it popped in, and I remember watching An Open Secret, and Michael Hara is a guy that pretty much admitted to trying to molest this guy on the phone. He's like, I shouldn't have done that, blah, blah, blah. So in the movie, the guy outs himself, pretty much, you know, not even knowing it. I don't know. You've never seen An Open Secret, have you?
Oh, yeah, sure have.
Okay, all right. I don't know if you remember at the end, the guy's like, he's just like, oh, you like young boys? He's like, not particularly, or whatever. And then the guy, he calls him. He's like, oh, Mike, or whatever the guy's name is. I was just thinking about you, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I shouldn't have done that. Well, that's the guy. And I found out he was the casting director. Then I dug more. I found papers from the 1970s with this casting director in Reno, Nevada. So it's a different state, managing kids. And this guy, Phil Linton, that I found that he casted him in that some movie in 1984. So he was around since the 70s with him, managing him when he was a kid. And it all just like snapped.
And so then who did you determine was the B actor with the AIDS?
Philip Linton. He died in 1992 of AIDS. He was in 21 Jump Street. He was in a bunch of shows. There was more clues to it, too. There was more clues to it, like his breakout performance. He never got to see it. Like a month before it came out. It was a TV movie with Jim Carrey, Lori Laughlin. So he, you know, and it was like a bigger TV movie. I forget what it was called. I just put this video out too. I wish I could know. Nothing that rings a bell, but
okay.
Doing time on street. All right, that's no good. I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay, now how about this? You did some research into the Johnny Depp deep dive there with the Viper Room. Where'd you come up with that?
Yeah. All right, with that, basically, well, first off, it starts off with like the news was that when Winona and Johnny started dating, it was right after she turned 18, like on her 18th birthday, pretty much, and he was saying that that they actually met on the set of Lucas, because he was hooking up with the one of the other girls from Lucas. I can't remember her name right now. It was something weird, something Smith.
Depp actually said that he was loitering around the set of Lucas?
Depp didn't. That's what Anti-Lawyer said on the podcast.
Okay, Anti-Lawyer says okay.
Yeah, so he says that. That really has nothing to do with the rest of it, but that's where I started my video, at least. But then you go forward a few years. Like, basically, what he says pretty much is Depp's a very jealous drunk. And we've learned that later on because he cut his tip of his finger off drunk and started scrawling the names of his people he was accusing his wife of sleeping with. Like, I put that in there too. That's why I know that, just because he was jealous and drunk, and the people were just the other actors in the movie she was starring in. So you go back, and he's saying that he suspects that Depp slipped River the heroin.
Right.
That's what he's saying because of jealousy, because River Phoenix and Winona Ryder were set to star in a movie together. So, I mean, I did find that, but of course it's nothing I confirm or anything like that. But this is what this guy's saying. So they were going to star in a movie together, but then it goes on. What else happened? The biggest thing that seems more like you can connect is his business partner, Anthony Fox, went missing. He was suing Depp, and he was suing Depp's silent partners. Basically, Depp blew all the money on drugs because he had a really bad drug problem then, and he wasn't bringing in the money he did from the pirate days. This is before that. So he pretty much was just ripping off the Viper Room. And the guy that owned it, the other owner, Anthony Fox, was taking them to court to sue them. He was supposed to be getting millions of dollars in, money they stole from him. Well, what any lawyer was saying was that these the silent partners, he thinks, are people in the mafia, like that just aren't going to play around. I'm trying to figure out who they might be because he was suing